Hello, I am back wanting to show you a journal with me spread, which I haven't done in a very, very long time, but I'm really excited. I've got a new desk and a new just journaling setup since I moved a couple months ago, and it's so much easier to film things now. So I'm really excited that maybe this might become more of a regular thing of sharing some journal with me processes. This is the first spread of my latest journal, which is always exciting. I love it when my journals end and then start at significant or fitting times. Meaning some of my journals have happened to end at the end of the year, and I get to start the next one around New Year's, or I've had other ones end at the end of a school year, or end and then start at my birthday. And that's always really fun because I started my first art journal on my birthday, how many years? 6 years ago now? So whenever I get to start a journal for my birthday, it just feels extra fitting. So I was really pleased when my previous journal ran out of space just a week or so before my birthday, and I knew I'd get to start my next one using my birthday as the first spread. So that's what this spread is for, except before I do my birthday spread, I always have just a half spread at the very beginning of a journal that I try to decorate a bit more minimalistically as a kind of just introductory page. So that's what I'm working on right now, with the flower petals and this text and the photo that are from a brochure I got at a botanical garden that my friends and I went to on my birthday, which was very fun. I snagged the brochure knowing I wanted to use it in my art journal. I love the font. It's so pretty, and I really love garden imagery. It's just something that shows up a lot in my art in general recently. I just write poetry about gardens, and flower motifs come up a lot in my art, so it was just fun to have it all kind of work together really well, that we'd gone to a botanical garden, so I could kind of base my spread around that, as well as having it be around my birthday, of course. When I make a birthday spread, it's really fun to include any birthday cards or notes from people. So you'll see me using some of those throughout. When I'm journaling, I tend to take everything out at the beginning that could fit. So that's what all the stuff spread around me is. I went through all my little boxes and pulled out anything that had the similar color scheme or similar imagery that I could use, and then I love kind of picking and choosing from it and narrowing it down. I'm a very big picture type of person, and it's just the way my brain works, is being able to see every single option and then working from that. So for this spread, one of my friends had sent me, she'd bought me some sticker sheets from an artist that I recently discovered, whose work I'm just in love with. I can link the artist's shop down below, actually, in the description. But she sent me some sticker sheets from this artist, and the artist sent them in this just delightfully bright green envelope. So I knew I wanted to incorporate that, and because it's such a large piece with a very specific color, it was kind of what I was going to be working the rest of my spread around, which was helpful. It's helpful to have a large item or a couple large items I know I want to include, but it's also a really unique shade of green. It's got a bit more blue in it than a really general spring green, and I was having a lot of trouble finding other green things to use, or having my other green items fit, because they weren't all quite the same shade. So I do kind of just sit and stare at my spread every so often during this process, But I wanted to keep those bits in here just to kind of show that that is part of my process. I'm not always sure exactly how I want a spread to go, and I'll just kind of sit and stare at it and stare at all of the items I have spread out on my desk until something kind of clicks or comes to me. This sticker sheet up in the top right that I kind of pulled out, I don't end up using any stickers from it, but it was actually really helpful having it just lying there to look at because it has a lot of green and pink with some yellow in it, and it just helped me kind of visualize a color scheme that ended up working really well. I remembered I had this shimmery rose pink packaging material left over from a package I'd ordered, and it's just such a delightful spring pastel color. So once I used that as kind of the background color for one of the pages, it really helped. It helped give me an idea of the direction I wanted to go with the color scheme. Before I was thinking of including blue or including different shades of green, and I just didn't want it to be too busy or too disjointed. So really focusing on the pink with the green with little pops of yellow was a helpful direction. And it's also a color scheme I don't think I've done that often. I've done pink and green, but doing the little bits of yellow in it as well was just a fun bonus to tie in. The envelope, even though it kind of gave me trouble at first figuring out how to make all the colors work, proved to be a really fun challenge, stretching me to find a palette that wasn't too busy and was still pretty cohesive. So I turned the back of it into its own little pocket so that I could store a birthday card that my friend had given me. And then I use it as a flap to kind of divide the two pages. And I find that this works really well for cards or large envelopes because it's such a large item that if I just taped it down, it would kind of take up the entire page and I'd run out of a lot of space. So by having it be a little flap in the middle, it makes it more interactive, which I'm always trying to do. I love it when my spreads are interactive, so the more interactive I can make them, the happier I am. So it gives it a little bit of interactiveness, and it also gives me a lot more room because I still have 2 whole empty pages to put things on. So I'll be taping it down as a flap in the middle once I've kind of finished planning out the rest of this page. I liked the way the text overlapped this photo, but I didn't want to cover up the photo too much. So once I figured out I could kind of cut the text up, it helped a lot. There are lines from a poem that I really love that I actually quoted for my birthday this year, so I was really pleased to find I had a little bit of it printed out in my art journaling things I've collected. It felt really fitting and perfect to use them for this spread. Along with this the high L is from a note that a friend sent me. She'd written it on the envelope, so it was fun to include that as well. As well as this little tulip petal down at the bottom. I used tulip petals in the introductory page, and I liked how I had one left, so I could kind of, it felt like it connected the 2 pages together by having petals on both sides. I have found that using double-sided tape on flower petals doesn't work very well because they're so thin and fragile, it often ends up ripping them. And they also just don't hold up throughout the years afterwards. So I saw somewhere ages ago someone using packaging tape instead, and I love this technique. Just putting packaging tape straight over the flower petals, kind of like you're laminating them. It sticks them down securely, but it also keeps them really nice and vivid because the packaging tape is clear, but it also kind of protects them from getting beaten up or starting to fall apart in the future as you're continuing to flip through the journal. So that's what I did with that. And then just securing my envelope down and using washi tape to connect the color scheme as well. I like to pull out washi tape that just helps tie some colors together. So I don't have as much yellow items, so using the yellow washi tape I found worked really well, as well as this like floral tape that you'll see me use in a bit. It's got green and pink in it, so I also really liked how that looked. Plus it fits the whole garden motif. Yeah, my friends and I went to a botanical garden on my birthday, so it was just fun kind of basing my spread around that. It helped give me like imagery that I could try to incorporate and use to tie the spread together. When making this spread, I approached it a little bit differently than I do with other spreads sometimes, because this one I knew I wanted to keep a lot of white space empty. I had things I wanted to actually journal about, like write, because I wanted to just record some of the memories and feelings from my birthday. So you'll see by the end of it that there's still a lot of empty space, and that's because I'm going to go back and fill that in with actual written journaling. So sometimes when I make a spread, I kind of fill every space that I've got, but other times if I know there's specific things I want to write about, I'll approach it a bit differently and make sure that I have enough room to do that afterwards. So on the right side with the pink paper, all of that space is free for me to write about once I'm done making the spread. And then likewise with the left side, I kind of keep the middle open so that there's room for me to do that. I really like with art journaling that I can kind of make it be whatever I need it to be for that specific event or memory. Funnily enough, I don't actually really like writing my thoughts or my memories a ton. I find it a little bit painstaking. So I love art journaling because it enables me to journal about something without needing to write about it if I don't want to. But if I do have things I want to write, I can just keep that in mind and make sure there's space to do so. It's such a versatile way of recording memories. It's one reason why I like it so much. Because often I won't reread my spreads, but I will flip through them. And I love having spreads that even if I just look at them, I remember how I feel because of how they look. I don't need to go back and read the written words necessarily. It's more so capturing the overall emotion, which is why they're so color-based as well. I feel my emotions with colors usually. Often I have colors associated with different emotions and different memories. So I love the feeling of flipping through one of my art journals and just seeing the different spreads, even just at a glance, immediately brings me back to how I was feeling when I made them or what I was thinking about. So I find it to be a really useful way for me to record my memories and emotions because my brain only partially works in words anyway, and it more so works in colors and images and things like that, which I feel like art journaling really provides the space to record things in that way. Instead of just sitting down with a blank page and writing, it's really daunting to me, and it's a lot easier even to sit down and write once the whole spread is made and it's pretty, and it feels like writing is just adding to the overall art piece. It's a lot less daunting for some reason. That's just how my brain works. But yeah, I approached the left side kind of with this border in mind. I kind of wanted the images to feel like a border around whatever I ended up writing later. So it's kind of like a frame, and it was fun finding little bits and bobs that helped tie the colors together. I really like the little sticker of the girl at the top with the yellow dress, because my friends and I had a picnic at the gardens, and the sticker just fit perfectly because it's a girl having a picnic. So I was really happy when I found that sticker. I was like, oh, that works perfectly. But yeah, I'll just then go and add little details here and there to kind of flesh out the whole spread, while also making sure that I don't overdo it. I often want to fill up every blank space, and sometimes that looks nice, but sometimes it ends up looking busy, and I'll finish and wish I'd had a bit more restraint and utilized a bit more white space. So by the end of this one, I am really pleased with kind of the balance between the details and the different colors, while also keeping some blank space, and it will look different also once I've finished the actual journaling part, but I was really pleased by the end of it with how this one turned out, even if it gave me a bit of trouble along the way, which is often the case with my spreads, but the struggle through it is honestly one of the parts that I enjoy. It feels like just a fun challenge to try and figure out how to make the colors work, figure out how to include all the details that I want, while still making it feel cohesive. So it's really just the entire process is so cathartic for me, and a great way of just being very present and working with something tangible. It's just a really great way to unwind and also just reflect on whatever event or emotion or memory I'm journaling about for that time. So I'm now putting all of my random elements back into their little boxes. I love having a really specific sorting system for all of my art journaling supplies. Different boxes for different types of things. And it is also satisfying once I finish and I get to put all my things back into their places. I don't know, it's comforting knowing everything has a place, and putting them all where they belong. Plus, it helps me kind of take a step back from the spread, and then I'll look at it again once all of my items are put away, just to make sure there's nothing else I want to add. And it's helpful kind of to step back before looking at it. Otherwise, I'll end up tweaking it until I'm never really satisfied. But I am really pleased with this one. I feel like it really captured what spending the day in the gardens felt like, and it's really fun to have it be the first spreads for this new journal, kind of to start it off and to set the tone and just set the feeling for wherever the journal is going to go next. It's always really exciting starting a new one because it's so thin and empty and just feels like it has so many possibilities. And then coming back to it once it's finished in a couple months is wild because it is battered and thick and chunky and just feels like it's grown so much and experienced so much life, and then it holds so many more memories, and so it's always fun. Yeah, I hope it was just a fun little look and maybe gave you some inspiration for different ways to go about your own art making. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll do another one like this again sometime soon.